He passed like magic. He shot like Curry before Curry was a name. He collected more MVPs than Shaq and Kobe, and he never once made it about himself. Steve Nash rewrote what it meant to be a point guard and became one of the most efficient players in NBA history. But one question has always lingered. Did he actually deserve those MVPs? Was he really that good? This is the complete story of Steve Nash. Steve Nash was born in South Africa and raised in British Columbia, Canada, a country where hockey is religion and basketball barely registers. Growing up, Nash played soccer, hockey, and basketball, which made his chances of reaching the NBA somewhere close to zero. His father played professional soccer, his mother competed in netball, but neither pushed their kids toward any particular sport. Nash didn't touch a basketball until he was 12. The moment he did, something ignited. His younger brother Martin, himself a future professional soccer player, remembered watching Steve shoot hundreds of free throws alone in the pouring rain. "I never worked that hard," Martin said. That obsession became Nash's defining quality long before anyone else recognized his talent. By his senior year of high school, Nash averaged 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists, and led his team to a provincial championship. When he told friends he wanted to play in the NBA, they laughed. His coach sent over 30 scholarship applications to American colleges, complete with highlight reels, and every single one passed. The problem wasn't ability, it was perception. Nash was a white point guard from Canada, and American basketball simply did not believe Canadians belonged at that level. One coach finally broke ranks. Santa Clara's Dick Davey flew north to see Nash in person and immediately loved what he saw, while also noting candidly that Nash was the worst defensive player he had ever witnessed. That assessment would hold true for quite some time. Nash arrived at Santa Clara unable to guard anyone. He barely played and came close to quitting altogether, but the same work ethic that kept him shooting in the rain took over. He improved fast, and before long he helped Santa Clara pull off one of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history, beating the second-seeded Arizona Wildcats. The real turning point came the following summer. Playing for the Canadian national team at the 1994 World Championships, Nash crossed paths with Del Harris, a veteran NBA coach, serving as an advisor to the Canadian Basketball Federation. After a single practice, Harris pulled Nash aside. "Steve, you may not know it, but you are already an NBA player." No one had ever said that to him. Nash had spent years absorbing doubt, and now someone who had actually coached in the league was telling him he belonged. It changed everything. Back at Santa Clara, Nash averaged 21 points and 6 assists while shooting 45% from 3, earning Conference Player of the Year. In his senior year, he dominated against Georgia Tech and star guard Stephon Marbury, and the basketball world finally paid attention. In the 1996 NBA draft, arguably the greatest draft class ever, the Phoenix Suns took Nash 15th overall. The home crowd booed. Fans thought management had wasted a pick on a physically limited Canadian from a mid-major program. For a while, the skeptics had a point. Nash averaged just 3 points in garbage time minutes during his rookie year. When Phoenix acquired Jason Kidd, his future looked even murkier. Under new coach Danny Ainge, Nash carved out a role as a shooting guard running off screens, quickly proving himself as one of the most reliable long-range shooters on the team. But the Suns didn't see starter potential in him. They sent Nash to Dallas, and a new chapter opened. In Texas, Nash met a young German forward named Dirk Nowitzki. They were both new to the city, lived in the same apartment complex, and became fast friends, the foundation of one of the most celebrated partnerships in NBA history. But the early years were hard. Dallas missed the playoffs in Nash's first 2 seasons. A big part of the problem was Nash himself, whose almost pathological unselfishness made him reluctant to attack. Coach Don Nelson could see what Nash was capable of, a premier scoring point guard, but couldn't get him to commit to it. Nelson eventually issued a direct ultimatum: shoot at least 10 times per game or face a fine. The threat worked. In 2001, Nash averaged 15 points and 7 assists, and Dallas reached the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. Over the next 3 seasons, the Nash-Nowitzki two-man game, with Michael Finley as the third piece, gave Dallas one of the best offenses in the NBA. But the playoffs kept ending early. Poor defense, suspect rebounding, and bad timing conspired against them. After Nash's 6th season, he pushed for a long-term deal with owner Mark Cuban. Cuban said no, too old, bad back. Nash walked back to Phoenix. What followed was arguably the most consequential offensive revolution in NBA history. Nash rejoined the Suns under Mike D'Antoni, a coach who had built a spread pick-and-roll system around 4 shooters, non-stop movement, and relentless pace. Pushing tempo and shooting early in the shot clock was considered reckless at the time. It turned out to be the future. The Suns earned their famous nickname, 7 seconds or less, and Nash was the engine that made the entire machine run. He brought 4 traits to the pick and roll that no other point guard in the league combined at the same level: shooting, playmaking, decision-making, and finishing. His passing was in a class of its own. Nash delivered one-handed passes from either hand, released directly from the hip without adjusting his body or his dribble height, giving defenders no time to react. His balance, developed through years of soccer and obsessive jump rope training, made him nearly impossible to knock off course. D'Antoni said he had never seen a basketball player with better balance in his life. Nash also pioneered a technique that became known as nashing, maintaining his dribble deep in the paint without immediately attacking the rim, holding the defense's attention longer to create openings for teammates. Curry and Chris Paul both use it today. From 2004 to 2010, Phoenix finished top 2 in the league in offensive rating every single season. Nash led the NBA in assists 5 times. His efficiency was historic. Between 2006 and 2010, he recorded 4 separate 50-40-90 seasons. Only 10 players in history have done it once. Durant and Bird did it twice. Nash did it 4 times. Despite everything, Nash never reached the NBA Finals. The near misses were brutal and specific. In 2005, he and Stoudemire pushed the Spurs to the conference finals, but couldn't get past Tim Duncan. In 2006, with Stoudemire injured and written off, Nash dragged Phoenix past the Lakers and Clippers before losing again in the West Finals. The 2007 run was the most devastating. Stoudemire was healthy, the Suns looked dangerous, and after beating the Lakers, they faced San Antonio once more. Late in Game 4, Robert Horry delivered a hard foul that sent Nash crashing into the scorer's table. Horry was ejected, the Suns won, and Nash finished with 24 points and 15 assists. The next day, the league suspended Horry 2 games, but also suspended Stoudemire and Boris Diaw 1 game each for leaving the bench. The victims were punished harder than the aggressor. San Antonio won Game 5 in Phoenix and closed out the series. It remains one of the most disputed officiating decisions in league history. Phoenix added Shaquille O'Neal the following season in a desperate bid to counter Duncan. The Spurs swept them in the first round anyway. In 2010, the Suns reached the conference finals one last time, but the window had closed. Nash retired, having never played in an NBA final. The numbers tell the story plainly. Nash is the second greatest free throw shooter in NBA history at 90.4%, behind only Stephen Curry. He shot 42.8% from 3 for his career, 11th all-time, 1 spot ahead of Curry. He finished at 49% from the field, among the rarest efficiency marks ever produced by a point guard. D'Antoni later admitted he should have demanded Nash shoot more. Nash agreed. He was too conservative, too quick to look for a teammate when he should have been hunting his own shot. Shaq had a case for the 2005 MVP. Kobe's 35 points per game made a real argument in 2006, but Nash won both, and he earned both. Nobody else in the league was pairing elite shooting with elite passing at that level of efficiency. The MVPs were legitimate, the legacy is secure, and the only genuine tragedy in Steve Nash's career is how agonizingly close he came to completing it with a ring.